welcome to this short video to increase shoulder, neck mobility and decrease tension. So it's just a little one. We're going to start by tensioning or flossing the nerves. So the space around the nerves doesn't stretch. We don't want to stretch a nerve, it's not a thing. But we can loosen what's going on around it so they glide and they feel a little bit more comfortable. So the first thing that we're going to do, taking our arm up and pulling our shoulder back, pushing the armpit forward. We're going to start to flex the fingers, and as we do so, we bring the ear over to that side. So what you might find is you start to feel some sensation. I feel it through the palm of my hand, I feel it through my right middle finger. If any of this is too much, just stop doing it. Okay? I'm going to do it a few times, and I already start to notice if I'm kind of hunching my shoulders. Nice. So just small things, subtle movements to make a big difference. So we're going to keep the armpit back, thumb and first finger together like you're making a little glasses situation. It might not come up that high depending on the tension in your shoulder or along this nerve, and we take the ear over again. So I feel a lot of the action of this in my hands and my fingers. So we're just loosening the space around that, because the nerves in your neck, through your shoulder, they run all the way through to your fingers. So that would make sense. 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice little shake. And the next thing you're going to do is pull your shoulder down. Take your arm behind you as if you're trying to like slip someone a 20 without them noticing. And ear over to that shoulder again. So just noticing where you feel it. Simple things making a big difference. So even if this is all that you do first thing in the morning or last thing an hour, whenever you do it, it's enough. So with this one in particular, I've noticed that I'm carrying quite a bit of tension in the shoulder, and I've already just softened it without realizing. Nice. Little shake, little shimmy. And just take a moment. Notice how kind of one hand and one side's feeling compared to the other. And we do the same thing again. So, pulling the shoulder down, flexing the wrist as we take the ear over. So pressing this space in the armpit forward. Noticing sensation, noticing where you might feel some red flags if you do. And being trusting of any of the red flags you do feel. Stop when you want to stop. So we're ready, keeping the armpit down, curling the fingers under the chin if possible. Little glasses thing. Obviously my actual glasses preventing me from touching my eyeball. And then moving the head over to the side. So if you're doing this in your work, obviously people in your work might think it's a bit weird. But you know, sodom, really, yeah. Just flossing my nerve space. For 2. For 1. And then when we're in the right jogging, you never know. And pulling the shoulder down, fingertips behind you, and dropping the ear over that way again. Always remembering to breathe. Prevents death and death-like symptoms, so it's a pretty big deal. And you don't need to pull on the neck, you just go enough till you feel what's good for you. Little shake, little shimmy. So that could be enough, or you can come on up and do both sides. So when we do both sides, we're pulling the shoulders back down, armpits forward. We're and really trying to push the walls away with the palms of our hands. And then when you go the other way, pulling the shoulders apart, pushing the walls away with the backs of our hands. So it's a push action down, and pull action forward. Just doing this a few times. Then your head move with it if it's possible. Oh, getting a big crack through the chest if that's you. So if you ever come to one of my beginners classes, or particularly when we do back bends in studio, I start with this stuff just to get a little bit more space. Going as fast or as slow as it's good for you, but slower is always better when it comes to this. Little shake, little shimmy. Then holding on to something if you want to. I do this purely because of proprioceptive feedback. When we've got something in our hand, we have an idea of where the hand's going to go. Relaxing the shoulders, soft through the knees. I'm just going to take the arm in and out. So at any point, these movements might be enough for you. You don't have to put this all together in a sequence. And once you've watched the video once, you just take what you want, leave the rest. So moving in and out, then eventually taking the arm up and pushing the arm up. So we keep the palm facing the ceiling as best as possible. So this mobilizes through the wrist, through the elbow, through the shoulder. And initially when you start moving your arm in this way, chances are you may feel like mine does, like you're starting an old car. But eventually we find a little more space. So we start to make these little scooping actions with the arm, keeping the palm facing forward. So this not only tests your shoulder, your wrist, your elbow mobility, and there's no right or wrong way of doing this, it also gets your brain working as well. So I move my body because if you move your body out of the way of this, you'll have a little bit more space, or maybe a lot more space. So we'll take a couple more. And then we'll go the other way. So coming inwards, keeping the palm facing up, this time rolling the shoulder head inwards and in. So this might be enough already, moving with the nerves, or we start to lasso the arm in, so palm comes around and through. It's a little bit cowboying, if you want to think about it that way. You do not have to move your whole body with you. Like I said before, I do it because it feels nicer and it gets my body out of the way. You can just move your arm. I find if I move my whole body, I've got a little bit more range of motion. Let's take a couple more. Then just to show you a little magic trick, if you're holding something properly between your legs so you can see, what you'll notice is one arm is longer than the other, the one you've been working, and should be a nicer, fleshier, pinky peachier colour than this one that looks a bit corn beefy. Magic, right? So let's do the other side. Coming out and in. So you might feel a little bit of stretch through the pectorals here. You can also do this seated if that's better for you. Might feel a little bit of a squeeze through the lats, through the back of the shoulder, getting the muscles working, pushing it up and down. So this arm feels a lot easier for me than the other one. The other one is very mobile. So I think because of that, it has a lot of clunkiness going on. But it's interesting, I noticed that my right shoulder is more mobile than my right hip, and my left hip is more mobile than my left shoulder. Oppositions in the body. So, while we're doing this, what do you notice about yours? And there's no right or wrong, like we said before, it's just to be aware of what is going on within you. trying to keep the palm facing up. Couple more. Making your own circular movement, coming in and out. And then we switch direction. So rolling the shoulder head in. You can get a really big squeeze and twist here if you want to, moving the shoulder forward and back. Or simply just move from the fingers. And when we're ready, all the way around. All the way. And up. For 4. Cowboy style. For 3. For 2. For 1. And taking whatever you're holding, just checking both arms are a similar length, similar colour, a little bit better. And then once again, you can leave this where it is if you want to, or if you'd like to do a little something for back line of the neck and the back line of the body. And you're welcome to sit down or stand up for this. I quite like a sit down because I can get a bit more traction. But if you've been sitting down all day, the recommendation is, I'll take my slippers off so you can see my feet. Lucky you. Take your leg out in front of you. I'm going to point the toes, drop the chin. Curl the toes up, lift the chin up. Point and drop. Curl up. So, you can keep doing this standing. If you prefer to do it seated, just come forward and back. The most important part is your chin and your foot. Your shoulders are an added extra. So one more either direction. And then we move to the other side. So last little part. Little pointy pointy. Flexy flexy. So you can keep your heel and your toe on the floor if you want to. You can start to lift it up if you're a little more au fait with this. The most important part is that your chin and your foot go the same way. Let's take one more forward and one more back. And if you're seated, you can come up into a nice standing fold. If you'd like to, just stop through your body. If you're standing, you could roll down and give yourself a little shake here. Couple of breaths. You might notice that this feels a little bit easier than it usually would if you hadn't have moved. You might not. Roll ourselves all the way up to standing. Checking in with how you feel. That was it. Short, sweet, easy. Hopefully feeling a little bit more mobile wherever you are. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you want something else. Thanks for coming.